right, welcome back. Mini lesson number 3, economic basics, distributing goods and services. All right, we're going to be looking at how companies around the world, governments around the world are going to distribute scarce goods, okay, and services. So goods that there may not be a lot of, okay, or that a lot of people need. We're going to be seeing how governments deal with these issues, okay? So that is the big thing we're going to be looking at today. All right. So our objectives, as always, we're going to go through our objectives. All right. You're going to be able to describe the different ways that people distribute scarce goods and services, like I just said. All right. There are multiple ways that we can distribute scarce goods and services. Okay. We're going to see we have a market economy, which people decide that it's first come, first served. They set their prices. And then we're going to look at a command economy, which is where the government really decides who gets the products, okay? Like I said, we're going to talking about command and market. We're going to contrast market and command economies, okay? We should be able to describe these economies by the end of this mini lesson, all right? You should also be able to list the 3 basic economic questions, which we will go over in a short amount of time. Don't worry about it. And explain how resources can be used to make different goods and services. All right. These 4 things you should be able to tell me and be able to really go into detail at the end of this mini lesson. All right. Like I said, short amount of time, you'll be seeing the 3 basic economic questions. All right, number 1, the first basic economic question, all right, is what goods and services will be produced, okay? So think about it. We have to decide, all right, what goods and what services are we going to produce, okay? So, all right, we want to produce iPhone, right? Here we go, iPhone, right? So this is the first basic one, okay? Or a pencil, okay? We are going to produce this pencil, okay? And then we have to think, all right, we have our iPhone, we have our pencil, we have our mouse, we have our computer, okay? How are we going to produce these goods and services, okay? This is question number 2. How are we going to produce them, okay? Are we going to have them produced by a machine, okay? Machine makes your iPhone, okay? Are we going to have, our pencils produced by a machine, okay? So we have number 1, what goods are we going to produce? Okay, so we have to decide. All right, I want to make an iPhone. All right, great. You want to make an iPhone. Now we go to number 2. How are we going to produce this iPhone? How are we going to produce it? All right, that's number 2, how, okay? And then number 3 is for whom will the goods and services be produced? Okay, so who are we making these products for? All right, who are we making this iPhone for? Basically everyone, all right? Pretty much everyone has an iPhone or a Samsung, okay? Those are the 2 really major phones out right now, okay? Who are we making pencils for? All right, students, okay? So that's who we're making for. So first question, what are we going to produce? Okay, so, all right, we're going to produce a pencil, okay? How are we going to produce it? Okay, the next number 2, how? All right, we're going to take a machine, okay? Machine will manufacture these pencils really quickly, okay? And whom are we going to, and number 3 is whom are we going to produce this pencil for? Students, okay? Maybe construction workers because they might need it. All right. So those are the 3 basic economic questions. You're going to want to know those, okay? Especially for the quick check coming up. All right. How should goods be distributed? Okay. So we have a scarcity of goods, okay? With the scarcity of goods, people have to decide how are they going to distribute these goods, okay? So let's take iPhone, all right? So your iPhone comes out, right? and everyone's running to AT&T, Verizon, Sprint, whatever you have, okay? Everyone's running there. I want to get the new iPhone X, whatever. Woo, here I come, right? Well, in the United States, they're going to just distribute these iPhones by the first people who come or sign up for it, okay? That's how we distribute in the United States, okay? Throughout the world, different economies are going to distribute these iPhones or maybe shoes, clothing, or water or food differently. Okay, so it's not all the same. Okay, it's not just how we have it, where it's the first come, first serve, right? Where the first person who gets that shirt and brings it to the cashier gets it, right? In different countries, shirts, shoes are going to be divided evenly, okay, to people, in certain ways, okay. But governments and people are always looking at the three economic questions. And what were those three economic questions? One, what are we going to produce? Two, how are we going to produce it? And three, who are we producing it for, right? So people are really going to decide how they're going to distribute these goods, okay? It's really impossible to satisfy everyone's wants and needs, okay? It's impossible, okay? We just don't have enough, okay? We don't have enough of certain products, okay, natural resources to really satisfy what everyone wants, okay? So let's look at a market economy. What is a market economy? That is a fantastic question, I may add. All right. So the definition of a market economy is a capitalistic economic system in which there is free competition. Okay, so you could be creating an iPhone, I'll be creating an iPhone, okay, whatever, Samsung, okay, so Samsung and Apple, they're battling it out. They want your business, right? And prices are determined by the interaction of supply and demand, okay? So what supply and demand is, right? So if we have a small supply, okay, so the iPhone X just comes out, okay, and everyone wants it, but we don't have a ton of phones, right? So the supply is low, right? So we have a low supply, but we have a high demand, right? Everyone wants the iPhone X, right? How would they price it? So we have a low supply, high demand. Well, people really, really want it. There's not a lot of them. So if people really, really want it, we can set the price high, right? The price can be high because there's not a lot of them and people are willing to spend that money. Vice versa, if we have a large amount of supply, okay, so the iPhone 4S, okay, the iPhone 4S, right? We have a large supply of them, okay? Not many people want the 4S anymore, okay? They were popular, but not anymore. So we have a large supply, right? Not a lot of demand. You're not going to sell those iPhones for a lot of money, okay? So that's the supply, okay? So if you have a high supply and a low demand, our price is going to be low. If we have a high demand and a low supply, our prices are going to be high, okay? So here in the United States, we have a market economy, okay? We have free competition, okay? Our prices are set by the people, okay? Usually based on supply and demand, okay? People in market economies, like I said, get to choose their own pricing, okay? So there is no one telling me that I have to charge, 99 cents for a pencil, okay? If I want to charge $4 for a pencil, I can. Not many people are going to buy it, but I can, all right? Like I had mentioned before, right? Goods are distributed on a first come, first serve basis. So if people, like we see, every, Black Friday, right? The day after Thanksgiving, people are literally camping out in tents in front of Best Buy so that they can get that 60-inch TV for a, $400, right? And it's the first people who get there and they buy it, get that product, right? No one's deciding who gets that product. Only the people who get there first will get that product, right? Although in a market economy, we do have allocation of goods, okay, which are going to be determined by the need of the people. Okay, so the government or and organizations are going to decide which resources can be used effectively, where that effectiveness would be, and when the resources should go do. Sorry, when the resources should go do the job. So basically, if we have a very small amount of, say we have water, right? Who, a natural disaster hits and we really need to move a lot of water, bottled water to different areas, okay, they'll allocate different goods for these people who are really in need, okay. Market economy, little to no government intervention, okay, there's very little. Command economy, on the other hand, okay, the government is going to make all the decisions about how goods are allocated, okay? So the government's going to decide, all right, we made, let's say, 50 pairs of shoes, okay? One pair is going to go to this family, one pair is going to go to that family, and they literally decide, okay, who gets the pairs of shoes that they just made, okay? That doesn't happen in a market economy, okay? The government doesn't decide, all right? The government also decides the prices, okay? So, like I was saying, in the United States, okay, in a market economy, AT&T, Verizon, they get to decide how much this phone's going to cost. They base it on supply and demand, which we talked about. In a command economy, if they come out with the iPhone, they say, nope, you are selling that for $499.99, okay? And that is your price, okay? You can't decide what we want to sell it for, okay? Or you're selling t-shirts, right? And you have a really popular t-shirt. Nope. In a command economy, you have to sell them for the price they tell you to, okay? Command economy, people have little to no say about how the goods are distributed, okay? It really comes down to the government, okay? So the government is really going to tell the people how the goods are distributed, okay? A great example of this, okay, this was well before your time. We used to have a country called the Soviet Union, okay? And this had, in the Soviet Union, which is now Russia, had a command economy. And the government literally decided what would be made, okay, how it would be made, and who would get it. Okay, so the government literally decided our three basic economic questions. Okay, so there was no outside people telling, making any decisions. Okay. Command economies are very difficult to be. They have a really hard time being successful. So they have actually switched from command economies to mixed economies, where they do have a lot of government intervention still, but they are starting to go towards implementing some market policies as well. So that's a command economy, all right? Much different than a market economy, okay? Remember, market economy, very little government intervention. Prices are determined by the producer, okay? And in a command economy, a lot of government intervention, okay? Prices are set by the government, okay? And the government decides who gets the goods, okay? All right, that's all I have for you today. I hope this helped. And here is your exit ticket. Remember, if you answer 5 exit tickets throughout the semester, I'll give you 100 on a quiz grade. So that'll definitely help your quiz grade. Like I always say, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. I am here to help you, okay? And I will see you next mini lesson or live lesson. I hope you're doing awesome. Mr. Doherty.